Good morning, my name is Andrea Gonzalez-Sequeda. I am medical student and member of the research group Women Health of the University of Cartagena, Colombia. The work that I will present today is titled Assessment of Perceived Psychological Stress (PPS) in Low-Risk Pregnant. What then prenatal control? I don't have any conflict of interest or financial relationship to disclose. Pregnancy is a complex process that significantly impacts a woman's life. Social influence, biological, and psychological changes are determining variables in maternal well-being. The adaptation to those changes, the appearance of morbid state, and the expectations with the reproductive outcome can lead to fear, stress, and injury in approximately 15 to 20% of pregnant women. Many times we talk about stress in different contexts, but we don't know clearly what is meaning. So, stress is defined as a biological response to situations in which adverse or threatening elements are identified against the homeostasis of the body, resulting in biological and psychological changes that place people at risk. The specific stress of pregnancy is defined as a distinctive syndrome characterized by concerns about health, reproductive wellness, medical symptoms, birth, delivery, and maternal role. Also, is a common mental health problem that deserves adequate assessments in pregnant women. There are not enough studies on the implication of stress and other psychosocial factors in low-risk pregnant women in Latin America and Colombian population. Therefore, the objective of this research was to determine the frequency of PPS and identify associated factors in low-risk pregnancies. This was a cross-sectional study, part of the research gestation. Participants were low-risk pregnant with more than 8 weeks of pregnancy without urgent morbid situation and have a live fetus, who attend prenatal care at Santa Cruz Grande Clinic in Cartagena, Colombia. Women were invited to participate by a nurse previously trained who evaluated them after leaving prenatal control. A form of sociodemographic characteristic, medical history, and PPS 10-item scale was applied. The following anthropometric measurements were assessed: body weight, height, and the body mass index (BMI) adjusted to pregnancy. The statistical analysis of the data was performed with EpiInfo 7.2. Quantitative variables are present in means and standard deviation, qualitative ones in absolute values and percentage. Unadjusted bivariate logistic regressions of the PPS as dependent variables with sociodemographic characteristics and obstetric history was performed. The Spearman correlation coefficient between the total score of the PPS 10-item scale and psychosocial condition was estimated. P-value less than 0.05 was considered as statistically significant. Women were informed of the anonymous and voluntary nature of the study. This project is approved by the Ethics Committee of the University of Cartagena, Colombia and Santa Cruz Grande's Clinic. As the scale used were mentioned, the PPS 10-item scale. It is a reduced version measures the perception of psychological stress, the way in which everyday life situations are perceived as stressful during the last month. Each question allows 5 answer options, rated from 0 to 4. Stress is considered as a score above the average. It means that the more points the participant get, more stress they will have. The higher score, the more stress. There is not a cutoff point. It should be taken in account that the body mass index (BMI) was calculated from the World Health Organization classification, and an adjustment was made according to the Romero-Martinez curve, taking into account the gestation trimester. Romero-Martinez scheme has been used to guide weight gained during pregnancy. It consists of two aspects, a nonogram and a graph of increase in weight, by means on which the calculation of the weight percentage for the size, considering the weight and the size of the woman. This value is projected of the percentage found in the nonogram in the relation to the gestational age in which the control was carried out. The pregnancy is classified as low weight, normal weight, overweight, and obese. Our results were the following. The first table shows us the sociodemographic characteristic of 683 studied women. Perceived psychological stress was reported by 5 out of 10 participants. The group of women with perceived psychological stress was significantly younger, has wife with higher prevalence of anxiety, fatigue, partner problem, and use of soda drinks, compared with a group without perceived psychological stress. The second table shows us 3 of the 10 questions that constitute PPS 10-item scale. It was found that more than 50% report never or almost never being confident about their ability to handle personal problems. Less than half of participants report from time to time feeling nervous or stressed. Half of the pregnant women have never or almost never feel in control of everything, and about a quarter of the population occasionally or often feel that difficulties accumulate so much that they could not overcome them. This table shows us correlation between quantitative variables and the PPS using the Spearman coefficient. It was found that the maternal age and the number of years of study was obtained a weak negative and significant correlation with stress. On the other hand, the gestational age had a weak but not significant correlation, and the rest of the quantitative variables had a negative and weak correlation but not significant with stress. Finally, this table shows us unadjusted bivariate logistic regression between PPS and psychosocial conditions. So, we found that a woman with perceived psychological stress had 3 times more risk of economic problems and using function to sleep, 2 times more risk of parent problems, anxiety, and fatigue, compared to those without perceived psychological stress. It is important to clarify that there are many factors associated with more or less PPS. Factors associated with greater PPS as economic problems, infusion to sleep, anxiety, partner problems, fatigue, soda dreams. Factors associated with less PPS as be employed and be professional. Therefore, our conclusion is that PPS was present in half of the low-risk pregnant population. Many psychosocial factors were significant associated. These are pictures of the member of the research group Women Health of the University of Cartagena, Colombia, that is classified as a category V according to the Ministry of Science of Colombia, with 20 years of history, characterized by making presentation in national and international congress, and the constantly generating social appropriation of knowledge, which is the basis of the investigation in Colombia. Because the most important thing is that the community receives the results of the different researches. I invite you to visit this website for more information about the group. So with this, I conclude the presentation of this work. I hope you will like it. Thank you so much.